What up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and I made it my mission to help you guys own it. It is Tuesday, February 28th. It is 3:45-ish p.m. Eastern Time. And yes, I did see that I scheduled today's stream for 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time. That's my bad. I scheduled it at 12:40. Wasn't trying to go live at 12:40. So I do apologize for any confusion, but we're here. You guys, for my faithful chaos people, you know the drill. It's 3:45, Monday through Thursday. Looking at the markets, it has been an interesting day. Pretty volatile, actually. S&P 500 is just barely in the red. The Dow's actually down around 0.6%. And the Nasdaq's barely in the green, sitting up around 11 points. This morning was a bit of a different story. If you guys were tuning into this morning stream, we talked about how things were kind of looking pretty green. The markets opened and it got a little bit choppy, and then it actually ended up moving and doing really well throughout the midday, but then basically ending up closing flat. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the markets in general, as it is the last day of the month. But let's not forget that we're also going to be reacting to AMC stocks earnings. You guys are already chiming in with the poll. I'm loving it, and it's very interesting. This is one of the more spread out polls that I've seen. 20% of you so far still actually own AMC and plan to buy more. Wow. Yes, but just holding what I got is 12% of you. No, I'm done with it. 32% so far, and then 36% never bought and never will. I'm sure that'll be interesting to see what that poll looks like by the end of the stream. But that's where you're at right now. And I want to kind of draw your attention a little bit towards the major markets. Real quick before I do any of that, though, let me shout out my starting five. I feel like Ivan Broski was not the first one to come in here. I know Froggy was one. I had to hit refresh on my computer, so that is my fault. But oh, no, here we go. Yeah. Froggy, Savvy Money Show, Jake Lipton, Ivan Broski, Shanjeev. You guys are my starting five. If you missed the starting five, it could be because you're not subscribed or hitting that notification to the channel. So make sure you hit that notification bell as I go live at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Thursday, and then Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I catch you before the market opens, and I catch you when we're in. We're going to react to all of that each and every day. So I'd love to have you guys hang out with me, and would appreciate the support. So we are going to be reacting to those AMC earnings. We'll see what happens. I'll give you some expectations in just a moment. But as I'd mentioned, I wanted to kind of turn your attention to the overall market. We take a look at the SPY, for example, and we're getting ready to close up on a month. So we go to the monthly chart, and it certainly gives us a decent 30,000 foot view of what's kind of happening here, right? I think that potentially what we're seeing on the monthly chart is something of significance. I mean, we're almost, if you take the bottom of 2020, the pandemic, and you draw that trend line, it's almost in line on the monthly chart with where we're supposed to be right now. Obviously, got way ahead of ourselves, in between, the bottom of COVID and now. And of course, we saw that correction. But I thought this was very interesting. And we haven't really seen a significant break in trend since those October lows. I think that that's certainly worth taking a look at. And we come back to the weekly chart, and we have this similar story. So let me zoom out a little bit so we can look at the SPY and kind of give you an idea just since October what we're looking at here. Actually, let me just go ahead and delete this. I'll draw a new trend line here. So here's your trend line from the bottom of October that we saw that bounced pretty much right off of the 200-week moving average, and then moved all the way up, and we're sitting here right at the 50-week moving average, and it looks as if we're going to close over that perhaps this week. We'll have to see how the rest of the week shakes out, but I'm really liking the momentum here. There's been a lot of fear in the markets over the last 3.5 weeks, but I don't think there's much to be worried about here. I really don't. And then you have Goldman Sachs coming out today, hinting around that perhaps a recession isn't going to happen and that soft landing is possible, making arguments for that. So the institutions are kind of looking at this and thinking to themselves, you know what, maybe it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be. I think that certainly is saying something. So I'm liking the SPY, and the same thing goes for the Qs. Qs are barely red right now, but the trend here is very much intact. I think that there's a lot to like here as well. And the one thing I will say, we obviously have seen a breakout from this downtrend on the Qs. The one thing I will say is that we saw a close below the 50-week moving average on the Qs last week. It looks as if that could potentially happen again this week. If that does, then maybe we fall back into that downtrend on the Qs. But I'm willing to bet that that's not the case. And at the very least, the worst case scenario, in my opinion, I think could be that 200-week moving average to act as support. That would be at 281. So not that far off. I think that there's a lot of tech stocks that just got beat to hell, and it was overdone on certain ones. So I think that the Qs certainly could be something to look at for sure. And, look no further than the Dow that actually is lower today than everything else. And I think that we could see a bit of a rollover on the Dow a little bit, especially when it comes to value stocks, and that we could see a little bit more of a rotation into growth and tech stocks in particular towards the later half of this year. Again, it's just my thoughts, my opinions based off of what I'm seeing on the charts and what we've seen from a macro perspective. If February comes in and we see inflation kind of really drop off, and it's almost kind of like a night and day situation from what we saw in January, then I think that there's a lot to like. So let me know what you guys think about this. But yeah. Nima Dogs asks, just checking in with you guys. Nima Dog asks, what do I think about Target at these prices? I think that Target, had a very interesting earnings. They come in and do well on what they were expected to report on. And then they came up with this strong warning. I think that maybe perhaps it was more or less to just cover their own ass. You look at the stock today, it's up 1.5%. We covered it this morning. I like Target. I think they're going to be fine. The only thing that concerns me is that their inability or the short-sightedness on their recent inventory issues that they've basically had over the last three or so quarters. That's going to be the struggle for me. I think Target is going after Walmart, and I think that they could potentially do well. I like it at these prices still. So yeah, that's my opinion on Target. Holding my 5 shares forever, talking about AMC, says Froggy. That is hilarious. Thiago Santos says nothing to worry about. Yeah, hang on every word, my friend. Just do me a favor. Hang on every word I say. Ivan Broski says, what would you do with my VTI? What should I do with VTI? Well, I can't tell you what you should do, but I can tell you what I would do. VTI is something that you just add to. I hate VTI just because the S&P 500 has outperformed VTI over the last decade. But do you? If you're going to continue to be in VTI or VT, what have you, I would say just, yeah, Strongman. He'll give you his most biased opinion, no problem. But I would say that you just dollar cost average. That's something that you just, hey, you know what? You're going to pay yourself every week. You're going to put it in the VTI or VT, whatever, and have a day. That's what I would do with VTI. I don't think that there's anything you should do with it. It's not something that you trade, really. Danny Alvarado says, bought NVIDIA puts for April. I think it's ran too much too quick. We've talked about that during their last quarter earnings. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that necessarily. I would say that you're probably on the right side of that trade, but we'll see. NVIDIA is not something that I would be super pumped about shorting, What's up, Don, from the Don Frown Show? JJ Hawkins says, $18 calls on Rivian. Yeah, so let's get into some of the earnings. So we got about 5 minutes before the close. Let's pull up the AMC chart. Right now, we'll pull up the 5 minute. Actually, you know what? Let's just do you all a solid. Look at the weekly chart. Amazing performance on the weekly chart, especially since 2021. Great 2-year performance on this one. You really just can't get enough of AMC, and really sticking it to the man here over the last 2 years. It's been absolutely fantastic. Love what they got going on here. What? Tell me what YouTuber I sound like. Hit that thumbs up, guys. But yeah, so AMC obviously has been an absolute dog over the last 2 years. People still hold on to this thing. They've made movies about it now and Netflix documentaries and what have you. But it's down 4.5% today. It was interesting because it was up around 4.5% right out the gate this morning. And we were reacting to it in this morning's live stream, which, by the way, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. You can come join me at 9 a.m. Eastern time right here on my YouTube channel as I react to the morning's goings on. But AMC looking like AMC right now. Estimated earnings per share for AMC is right around, a loss of 22 cents is expected, $977.66 million, 2 downward revisions to 0 up. And the story is the same. Dilution, dilution, dilution. They're in debt up to their eyeballs, and maybe we'll see a pop today because the short interest on this is at 23%. But I think the short interest here is certainly warranted. There's literally nothing about AMC that I actually like. You know, if you put a different name on AMC, right? It was just a completely different ticker, completely different stock. Everybody would be like, this is a piece of shit company, right? I mean, Adam Aaron hasn't done anything for his investors. You can pretend like he has, but the ape situation, some people really fell for this. John Cochran says, yeah, that's hilarious. That is so funny. I'm just reacting to some of the comments here. AMC is going to say AI on the call. Oh, hands down, they're going to start talking about AI. Anything to keep the stock up. Don says, I swear I hope AMC says AI to help with ticket purchases. Something dumb just to see it moon. Yeah, that would be hilarious. What an absolute joke that would be. Am I going to buy AMC popcorn from Walmart? Fuck no. No, that ain't happening. As we get closer to the close, about 83 of you guys watching so far, make sure you hit that thumbs up. I certainly would appreciate it. We also have Rivian that's going to be reporting earnings today. And I'll kind of buzz through some of these expectations. The stock's up 4.5% today. And surprisingly, the growth actually hasn't been all that bad compared to some of the other EVs out there. If there was a alternate EV only company, not named Tesla, that I would be interested in taking a look at, it probably would be Rivian. It's come down to a reasonable level as far as valuation is concerned at $17 billion. And I use that term loosely in this space just because it is still ridiculous. You know, right now it has a market cap just slightly under what Ford's is, and they don't do nearly that type of revenue. But if you like the growth here and the potential, then maybe $17 billion valuation isn't actually all that crazy. Looking at this, expected earnings per share is a loss of $1.95, $729.47 million in revenues expected, 6 upward revisions to 2 down. You know, I think Amazon's involvement with Rivian is going to save Rivian. And I think that's what keeps the company around. And so I saw Danny Alvarado saying that he sees Rivians all over the place. I agree. I mean, here on the East Coast, I've actually seen quite a few Rivians as well. I'm not a big fan of them personally, but it doesn't mean that nobody else is. And I actually think Rivian could stand out. But either way, I think that these earnings just don't come in good, only because we didn't see great earnings from Tesla, from Ford, from Lucid. None of these earnings were great. We saw slowing in demand. So I think that we could potentially see more of the same from Rivian. This quarter, I don't think I really like it, but I think that long-term Rivian could do something with what they got with their brand. Nima Dog says there are so many Rivian cars in the Bay Area. Yeah. So anyways, that is Rivian. Some other stuff that's coming out this afternoon, Blink charging, sticking with the EV theme. That's coming out with earnings today too. We'll continue to react to that as those numbers come in. Their expected earnings per share is, let's see. A loss of 46 cents, $19.89 million in revenue. First Solar also coming in with earnings today. That stock's up 124% in the last 52 weeks. Isn't that crazy? First Solar's up 124% in the last 52 weeks. A loss of 15 cents is expected here, $1 billion in revenue. Not really looking good as far as revisions are concerned, but I mean, shit, 125% over the last 52 weeks. That's crazy. Space, Virgin Galactic is expected to come in at a loss of 52 cents, $372K in revenue, so pretty low bar there. And then there's Monster Energy, which this stock's been a little bit all over the place too. But they're up 20% over the last year. Year to date, they're doing pretty well too. They're up around 0.5%, just relatively speaking, of course. They're not in the red. And their expected earnings per share, 63 cents. $1.6 billion in revenues expected there. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we got going on here, see what kind of movement we have. And it looks like Blink's just kind of low volume there. Rivian, not much going on either. I mean, it closed up the day 4.5%. AMC just looks like some pretty typical after-hours movement in preparation for earnings, so no real big deal there either. Let's look at the Monster chart. MNST is the ticker there. We have Blink and then First Solar, FSLR. Still no movement on that either. So we're still just waiting. Still just waiting on something to pop here. Let me check in with you guys, see how you're doing. The poll, many of you guys are still hanging on to AMC. 17% of you say that yes, plan to buy more. And 12% say that yes, but still just holding on what I got. So that's a decent, 20% of you so far that have voted in still believe in AMC to some degree. 25% say that I'm done with it and never bought it, never will is the large majority of you. Don't lie. How many of those people just lied? They don't want to be associated. Yeah, Rocket has earnings today too. RKT is the ticker there. Well, if there's any movement on that, we can take a look at that. It's not Rocket Labs, it's Rocket Companies. It's the actual mortgage company, Rocket. That was a big one that Fat Man and Zoom and I were on when it popped. Had quite the short squeeze back in the day. And yeah, Coupang, there's a bunch of little ones. We can certainly react to them. Dinos asks, how is First Solar holding up? First Solar so far is holding up pretty good. I just got done mentioning that it's up 125% over the last year, which is nuts. That's crazy. I mean, some of the renewable energy stocks have just been crushing it. We talk about Enphase all the time, and that's still my favorite, renewable energy company. If I only had to pick one, that would be the one that I'd go after. But First Solar, you can't deny. I mean, look at this weekly chart on this thing. Craziness, right? Nuts. So that's First Solar. Monster, still no reaction there. Blink, no reaction there either. We can pull up CP&G just to see if there's any movement on that. Coupang. That's down 3%. Let's see. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of volume there. BNGO. Isn't that a... Does Kathy Wood still have BNGO? Yeah, no movement on that either. $1.34. Man, I can't believe that's $1.34. Here's your monthly chart on BNGO. This is at $15.69 at its peak back in almost 2 years ago to the date, February 26th of 21. That's nuts. Crazy. Coupang's down 3 1/3%. I'm hesitant to go see what's going on there, but AMC also moving a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Doesn't look like there's any numbers out on any of these yet. They're going to make me wait. Mercado Libre, yeah, they had earnings last week, 2 weeks ago, Ivan Broski. Alan Ross says, interesting to see what NIO does in the morning. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to join me tomorrow and we can react to NIO's earnings, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell, as I'll be live at 9 a.m. Eastern time to react to that, plus all the other earnings that are going to be coming out tomorrow morning. It should be an interesting morning tomorrow. Shock City Rocker says, been scaling into Jumia of all things lately. Really? Jumia. Let me take a look at this. Let's scale this out a little bit. I'm not quite sure what you're seeing there, but weekly chart not looking great. Then again, it's only $3.38, so as long as you don't go crazy on it. Yeah, Coupang is selling off here, so those numbers must be out. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one so I can give you guys those numbers on Coupang. You guys aren't familiar with Coupang. It's kind of something similar to like an e-commerce platform. It's Korean, and they've been around for a while, but they were just recently went public, I believe, within the last 18 months or so. So I don't think they're lighting anybody's world on fire, but it certainly looks like perhaps maybe those earnings are out and it's not doing all that hot. So they came in with earnings per share of 6 cents. They beat by 2. So the expectation was 4 cents. They came in at 6. Revenue of $5.3 billion misses estimations by $70 million. That's still a growth rate of 4.3% year over year, but for e-commerce platform, I feel like that's a bit low. Product commerce net revenues was $5.2 billion, up 5% year over year on a reported basis, or 21% on FX neutral basis. That's not terrible, but they missed on revenue. It looks as if maybe the guidance isn't quite there yet either, and the stock is still off, not doing so hot. It's now down 6% after hours. Yikes! Ouch, baby. First Solar is out. I don't see any reaction from First Solar. People out saying First Solar, there's no movement whatsoever. If they're out, nobody cares about them. Let me see if I got First Solar. First Solar Q4. Yeah, here we go. Those earnings are out. Thank you for that. But according to Benzinga, First Solar came out their Q4 earnings per share loss of 7 cents. The estimate was a loss of 15, so they beat that pretty handily. Sales came in at $1 billion versus the 989.28 that was expected. Sees fiscal year sales $3.4 billion to 3.6. The estimate was 3.34. So a solid beat all the way around. Guidance also crushed. First Solar is going to continue to do well, I think. There has been no movement on this unless Webull is just really acting up. But this should go off, I would think. Everything about those earnings are pretty damn good. I mean, great guidance, great numbers on the quarter they were reporting on. I like everything about this so far. Kind of a surprise. Oh, did I not pull up the right ticker? Oh, shoot. I sure didn't. I got FlowServe up. What the hell's wrong with me? That's I was like, what the hell's happening? Okay, now, there we go. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you for keeping me honest. Well, I had the right ticker for the earnings anyway. My bad. My bad, yo. Such is life when you're live. The stock's up 4%. I was like, why isn't this moving? That's so funny. Thank you. Yeah, this thing is ripping. It's up 4% after hours, and they beat earnings per share. They beat revenue handily, and then the big important thing is that they beat guidance. I mean, they crushed guidance. This is probably going higher than 4% tomorrow. I would be surprised if it didn't. Rivian tanking right now, it looks like. Yep, down 7%. Still waiting on AMC. Those earnings are not out yet, but Rivian's earnings looks like they are. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull those numbers up real quick for y'all. So Rivian, actually, let's see here. What we got? Rivian comes in, their Q4 earnings, a loss of $1.73 versus a loss of $1.89. So they actually beat that number. This is according to Market Rebellion. Revenue came in at $663 million versus the $714. So that was a miss. That to me, I think, is something to certainly take a look at, because the growth is what we want to see. It would have been much better if they missed on earnings but beat on revenue. It doesn't look to be the case here for Rivian. Production is 200K, deliveries 500K to Amazon this month is apparently what the rumors are. Let me confirm that. If that's the case, that would be nuts. I don't think that's real, but that would be crazy if it was. You guys have been saying they've been all over the place. Here's the official report. Sometimes, the Twitter machine, they just like to say shit. I like to say shit too, but, apparently I like to pull up wrong tickers as well. Al says bye-bye Rivian. Rivian is only down 6% after being up 4%. Danny Alvarado, that's a great point. You know, they were up 4% today, and yeah, it's down 6% right now. It's down 8.25 now. Still falling here, but you know, it did have a decent day. We'll just continue to keep an eye on that. But those are your numbers from Rivian. I'll look to see if I can find the guidance, because that's really what's going to matter. Guidance numbers is really what we're looking for. Don Fran says, ask about, check in on Amazon, see if there's any reaction. Yeah, Amazon, let's see. Amazon, yeah, not really all that reactionary at all because of the write-off. That's correct. So no reaction there from Amazon. Monster Energy is selling off here, and it looks like those numbers are now in. Let's take a look at Monster. Okay, let's see. Monster numbers. Looks like, let's go ahead and check this out, see what we got. They came in a fourth quarter net sales of $1.51 billion for the 2022 fourth quarter, 6.2% higher than net sales of the 2021 comparable period. So that's year over year. The expectation for Monster was $1.6 billion. And so it looks like they came in far below that, about $990 million less than what the expectation was there. Net changes in foreign currency exchanges rates had unfavorable impact on net sales for 2022 fourth quarter of $81.9 million. That's actually almost right in line with the miss. $82 million essentially is what they kind of lost due to FX. And, you know, they were $90 million short on revenue total. That's interesting. Net sales on foreign currency adjusted basis nearly 11.9% for 2022. Company implemented a price increase effective September 1st, 2022 in the United States, and continued to implement price increases in certain international markets in the fourth quarter. Gross profit as a percentage of net sales increased to a sequential quarterly basis of 51.8%. That gross profit's nuts. In the 2022 fourth quarter, gross profit as a percentage of net sales, excluding gross profit for the company's alcohol brand segment, increased on a sequential quarterly basis to 52% in 2022. As of December 31st, 2022, the company had $1.31 billion in cash and cash equivalents, $1.36 billion in short-term, and $61.4 million in long-term investments. So really a miss on revenue is kind of not great. I would imagine guidance isn't also all that fantastic here for Monster, but those are your numbers. Don says, haven't you noticed the lack of white monsters in our streams? You should have known it would be red. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I've actually, I just saw a podcast. If you guys are familiar with Anthony Pompliano, he was talking about Prime energy drink and how Prime Energy, I think, is bringing in somewhere like $500 million, and then he valued it at a $5 billion company if somebody were to buy them out. If you guys aren't familiar with Prime, it's Logan Paul's brand of energy drink, and apparently they're crushing it. I'll believe that when I see it. I don't think anybody's willing to buy them for $5 billion right now. If they give it a couple of years and they can sustain this type of growth, sure, but it's too early to make that call. And I mean, is Monster being affected by this right now? Maybe. We'll see. We shall see. Still waiting on the AMC numbers, I think. I mean, it's only up 1.5%. Not really a whole lot of volume going on there. Shock City Rocker says Prime just scored a deal with UFC. Yeah, I saw that. That wasn't all that new news. That was, that news has been out for a month or two, has it not? Am I wrong on that? Darwin says, looks like Ford sold Rivian. Well, that's not a surprise. That's not a surprise at all. Checking on some other comments. Boston says guidance. Yeah, for sure. It's good to see you in here, Boston. Thanks for hanging out, my man. All right. So we did cover a lot so far already. First Solar came in. They actually crushed earnings. The guidance, they also smashed expectations on. The stock's given back a lot of its gains so far. It was up around 4.5%, 5%. It's only up now 2%. I think that this is kind of BS. So just keep an eye on this. I don't think there's anything here in the earnings so far that I'm seeing, and it's early, granted, but I think that this stock's going much higher from here. The growth is nuts for First Solar. Monster Energy, Monster Beverage, that stock is now only down around 2%. We just reacted to those earnings. They came in and missed. It missed on revenue. It looks like guidance was not great either. And so that's why that stock is down. And, you know, look, Monster's had a good run. Monster during the pandemic and all that, they've done some amazing moves. They also declared a 2-for-1 stock split. So forward split on that for Monster Energy or Monster, Incorporated, whatever. So they also announced a split. I don't think that matters to them. To our investors, obviously, you can see that the stock hasn't really moved all that much, but I don't understand why they would do a split here. It's not like $100 a share. Is that crazy? I don't know. If it was like Amazon, right? That was like a $4,000 stock at one point. Yeah, a split makes sense. Doing a split here at $100, no thanks. Pass. We also reacted to Rivian. They came in and missed on earnings. They beat on earnings but missed on revenue. The slowing of growth here and demand is kind of what's killing Rivian at the moment. That's why the stock's down quite a bit. And this is a little bit more of the same tone that we've heard from a lot of the other EV companies, Lucid being one of them. Fisker came out this morning and not really a whole lot of movement there either. Rivian's, so the production is 50,000 vehicles in 2023. Projected was 63,000. And so that's obviously going to impact the stock as well. I will say that this $13,000 or 13,000 vehicle miss isn't anywhere near what we saw from Lucid, right? I mean, Lucid's going to miss projections on production by like 50% or more, and it might be over 50% from the earnings that we reacted to, and that's interesting. So, yeah, they're going to miss production by 13,000 vehicles, but maybe not as bad as some of the other EV companies that are out there. Mark B says, I worked at a co-packing company for 18 years now, and we still make 1.5 million of cans per day of Monster. Damn. That's crazy. Novavax took a dump, yeah. Carem, I already did cover coupon earnings. They didn't do well. Stock's down. They didn't do well, and guidance wasn't all that great either. But it's down 4%. Let's see here. Still waiting on AMC earnings. Not really anything happening here just yet. I'm pulling it up. We're hitting refresh. Got nothing. Where are you guys watching from? Let me know in the chat where you guys are watching from. And while you're hanging out in the chat, make sure you hit that link in the that's pinned up top. Come check us out over at patreon.com/ownthechaos. Don Fran from the Don Fran Show and I are pairing up, and we're providing unbelievable value for you guys. Check it out. We'd love to have you guys there. You can get access to our Discord, Don's trade alerts, my watch lists, all kinds of other extra content that you're not going to get publicly. This is going to be something that just helps support us, and we can help support you in that way. So we certainly appreciate it, guys. Wow, lots of people tuning in. So love this. No blink yet. We're still waiting on blink earnings. At least there's been no reaction. Netherlands. Nice. The Hog. India. Vinales is from India. Nice. Dominican. That's so cool. Moscow, Greenland, Machu Picchu. I know Z Writer ain't watching from Machu Picchu. Mom's Basement. Alan Ross says that's more believable. Toronto, Minnesota, Manchester, England, and Eastside says Boston. Nicely done, sir. Nice. Poland. That's so cool. Motown. Tony B's in Maryland. Is that Tony Braxton? I'm just kidding. I know Tony B. I know that you're not. Tony Braxton is from Maryland, though. Okay, let's check out Rocket. Let's see some people talking about Rocket. Those numbers are out. The stock's up 3% as we await AMC. Still don't have those AMC numbers out. We can react to some other stuff here. Rocket is up. It's so crazy that this stock is down at $7. But let's take a look here. Rocket is out. The stock is up. It was. Looks like it might be turning down. Well, according to Webull, it's not. Seeking Alpha says it's red. Interesting. Okay, well, they came in and a loss of 10 cents. They beat by 2 cents. The estimate was a loss of 8. They came in at $683 million in revenue. They missed that revenue and guided below consensus. So some of the numbers here in Q1 2023, they expected adjusted revenue of between 700 to 850 million. The consensus is 802. So that's a big spread, by the way. You're going to give you a room for error of $150 million. The consensus was 802. So we'll see how this reacts, but they beat on earnings and revenue actually missed. Rocket is up 3%. I'm not sure how long that lasts, but we'll see. We'll see. Rivian still taking it on the chin here. That is down 7% on production numbers coming in below expectations for 2023. So guidance, as always, is king. And it seems as if Rivian is the latest victim on that. Speaking of guidance, Monster came in and missed on that as well, and is down 5, almost 6% here after hours. Monster Energy and Monster Beverage Corp and Rivian are kind of the biggest losers here so far. Blink Charging, it doesn't look like I have any numbers on Blink just yet. And it doesn't look like Virgin Galactic has moved yet either. Let's see. Virgin Galactic was expected a loss of 52 cents, $372.62 thousand in revenue. So I don't know. Don't expect much here. The stock's up 2% though. Let's see what we got. They came in at earnings per share of a loss of 55 cents. They missed that expectation by 3. Revenue came in at 800,000. Wow. They came in $870,000 in revenue, beat by $500,000. So the stock's up 2%. Let's go ahead and pull up the chart. SPCE. That's interesting. I mean, listen, they're still not bringing anything in, right? But I mean, it's a beat. They forecasted free cash flow for the first quarter of 2023 is expected to be in the range of 135 to 145 million. Is that right? What? Get the hell out of here. That can't be right. This is according to Seeking Alpha, and I'll change it if I need to. Forecasted free cash flow for the fourth, this is a loss. Supposed to be in the range of a loss of 135 to 145 million. I don't know. That's crazy. The company is valued at $1.5 billion. It's still kind of overvalued for what it is, at least for now. That's interesting. Stock is kind of non-reactionary right now. It's pretty flat. It was up. It did spike up around 6% and now is falling down and went back into the red. Rocket's still holding on to that green, by the way. First Solar barely hanging on the greens, giving back almost all of its gains off of a great quarter and great guidance as well. Coupong's trying to claw its way back. It's only down around 1.5% after being down around 6. Let's see. Still waiting on AMC. We've got nothing there so far. Nothing on AMC just yet. AMC is out. Okay, let's take a look. See what numbers we got. I got nothing so far. Apparently, AMC is launching a line of microwave popcorn and ready-to-eat popcorn exclusively at Walmart. That was an hour ago, reported by Unusual Whales. I still don't have the numbers yet, though. Let's see. Let's look at, see what else I got. Apparently they beat. Here we go. Q4 revenue came in at 967.4 million versus 977. That's not a beat at all. They missed on revenue. Earnings per share came in a loss of 26 versus a loss of 20. So that is also a miss. Still looks like they missed badly. But I have multiple reports here. Another one says a loss of 14. That's adjusted versus 20. So that's probably the one they're going after. 990.9 million versus the 1.03 billion that was expected. Let me just confirm one more time because I'm still seeing conflicting numbers. I just want to double check. You guys know me. I always grab from multiple sources, especially when numbers are flying around like this. I just want to be cautious and extra careful that they are the correct numbers. So let's see what we got here. So far, I'm seeing mixed numbers. Some people are saying that they missed. Others are saying that they beat. It's always a clusterfuck, I feel like, when AMC comes out because everybody's trying to manipulate the next guy. AMC Entertainment, loss of 26, misses, sales 968.4 million. All right, that's the second one that I've seen from a legitimate source. So it looks like they missed. And AMC is kind of non-reactionary at this point. It's down 0.25%. Could it be priced in? I don't know. Checking out some of the comments here. AMC launching popcorn NFT. Who the fuck cares? Earnings Whisper had AMC. Yeah. I'm looking at Earnings Whisper right now. Thank you. It's always like a nightmare trying to find AMC's numbers sometimes. But it looks like they missed. Not shockingly, right? It looks like they unshockingly missed. Just want to double check on some things here real quick for you guys. I mean, are we really going to be shocked? Yeah, so they came in a loss of 26 cents. That's what I thought. Loss of 26 cents. Expected it was a loss of 21. They came in with revenue on a miss too. 968 million versus 977 that was expected. Nothing to see here, right? I don't think that there's anything good about this. And I'm actually surprised that there's not a whole lot of movement on this right now. Either way, right? I mean, the investors are going to find a way to try to buy this up, right? You would think. But John Cochran says, don't care about AMC earnings. Where are the shares? Yeah, they're all over the place. They just dilute the shit out of this. Right now, AMC is failing to deliver shares at 100K. Yeah, no shit. Thanks, HK Go. AMC, yeah, loss of 26 cents versus 21, 968.4 million versus 977 that was expected. La-di-da. Not really all that great. I'm just like, I am perplexed from people who still love this stock. And look, here we go. Now it's moving up. Who knows why, right? It ain't going to last. The stock's up now 4% after hours. It was down 6% on the day, so hasn't quite made up for today's losses. I'm sure people are buying this up because of NFT popcorn. Who the hell knows? It's such bullshit, man. Very good chance that this is from somebody on Twitter. Very good chance in 2023 based on current movie releases, but 24 and 25 is locked. Yeah, okay. Keep telling yourself, guys. The AMC Bulls. I mean, at what point are you just going to be like, okay, either just hold it and pretend like you don't have it and be surprised one day if it does great, or just walk away. In my opinion, just do yourself a favor. There's so many better stocks, so many better companies than to try to play a short squeeze. It's hard. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, it would be one thing if it was a short squeeze that caught shorts off guard, right? That caught them by surprise. But the thing of it is like once the surprise, like once the shorts got fucked, like the gig's up, show's over. You're not gonna catch them in that again. Now, granted, there is 23% short interest on this, but that's because of just how terrible the company actually is doing. And you're not going to get enough people to come in here and buy it now at this point. M. Nice says we have 3 AMCs in our town and they are never reopened. And they never reopened. Wow. And AMC probably still owns that property. Or they're leasing it. One of the two. Will says they're either going to get diluted or go bankrupt. They're already diluting. I mean, that's what APE actually is. APE is dilution. And everybody convinced themselves that it was a great thing. I'm like, do you guys not know how dilution works? Right? Like, if you're in a pool and a kid pees in the pool, you don't know he pees in the pool because you don't see it. I guess maybe that just means that there's no pee in the pool, right? So I don't know. I don't get it at all. But anyways, guys, that's your earnings for today. Listen, tomorrow we're going to be reacting tomorrow morning to earnings. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. I'm going to be reacting to earnings tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon. But not only am I doing that, but I'm also going to be streaming Tesla Investor Day as well, if I can. I'm going to attempt it. Sometimes with these things, I get kicked off because YouTube policy, whatever. In the past with Tesla, though, they usually don't care, but we'll see. Apple has really kind of been the stickler for me. Anytime I try to stream an Apple investor event, I get, screwed. So we'll see about that. I'm going to try to stream it tomorrow and cross my T's and dot my I's. But tomorrow morning we have NEO, Wendy's, Lowe's, Dollar Tree, Kohl's, Jack in the Box, Hilton, Workhorse, another EV that I can't believe is still actually hanging on. And many other ones that are going to be reporting tomorrow. I'm sure we'll react to those as many of those come in. But tomorrow afternoon, on top of the Tesla Investor Day and what have you, we'll be reacting to earnings as well. Let me pull that up. What tomorrow afternoon is going to entail for us. Tomorrow afternoon is going to be, come on, man. Pull it up. There we go. Tomorrow afternoon, we have Salesforce. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a big one. Snowflake, Plug Power, Splunk, Okta, Dropbox. Some pretty decent earnings tomorrow, too. So make sure you guys are tuning in tomorrow at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Would love to have you guys hang out. And hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell to get notified when I do go live at 9 a.m. in the morning or 3:45 in the afternoon. And make sure you're checking us out over at patreon.com/ownthechaos. Help support Don and I over there. We'd love to have your guys' support. Get Don's trade alerts as well as my watch lists and then access to our Discord. Lots of invaluable information there, in my opinion, in the Discord. It's a great community to be a part of. You're not going to miss it. It's $5 a month. So make sure you go check it out. We'd love to have you guys. And that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow.